Oi, King of Crypto here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a TikToker. He went from a hair system into a hair transplant. Apparently, they bribed him to do so. Today we're going to be taking a look at a TikToker who is 24 that's tried everything in the book, including spray-on hair to hair systems. Basically, this guy went viral and a hair transplant company in Turkey got a hold of him and they were like, hey, like, we're gonna pay for your thing, come and do it, just document the journey. As influencers get that type of treatment. And we're gonna take a look if this was a good idea, my analysis on the whole thing. But real quick, everybody, this video is sponsored by Levivid Hair. If you are looking for a hair system and a discount, make sure you use my code down below. That'll save you just a little bit of money. I like to have discount codes for all of the different vendors out there, so that way you can choose where you want to go. All right, so let's take a look. All right, now the title is basically that he's got to take a month-long sex ban while his new locks bed in, which, let's just admit it, this is a lie. Whether you have a hair transplant or anything like that, if you have sex, masturbate, anything like that, it's not gonna affect your hair growth. That's been debunked so many times, it's not even funny. But apparently this guy, how do you say this name? Is it cat hair? Katniss?
I volunteer as tribute. I believe we have a volunteer.
Cather. If somebody knows how to pronounce this, leave a pronunciation down below for me. But a gentleman folk named Cat Hair from Northern Ireland says he's tried everything to hide his hair loss, which started 5 years ago when he was 19, which is around when mine started as well. He's apparently tried a spray on barnette, trying different styles to hide his bare scalp, even trying a non-surgical hair replacement system or hair system. So now he's going through with a hair transplant. But apparently what happened is that this hair transplant company reached out to him. He had been trying to go to Bali to get a hair transplant and he basically couldn't go. And this hair transplant reached out to him and said, hey, we're gonna do it for free. Come over. So he decided to get a hair transplant with them. That way he could finally have the hair of his dreams. Or so he thought. So these are his before and after pictures. Now his hair system is probably the reason that his hair looks like this right here. Shaved it. It looks like it was a partial, right? This is his natural hairline currently. Kind of has this M shape. That's familiar, and this is after the fact. Now we're going to be talking about a little bit if this was a good idea and how he did it. But this was him with a hair system, what he looked like before. So obviously lots of fullness. It looks like he has some recession on the sides, but yeah, lots of fullness down here. Wearing it over, good way to hide his hair loss. The question is, can he get this back with a hair system? I lied, guys. I got the story wrong. He actually lives in Bali. We're on his TikTok. Oops, my bad. So yeah, there's a lot of different stuff about him, going through hair loss, hair systems, all this kind of funny junk. He's also got this YouTube video right here. So this is obviously him with his hair system. Let's just kind of scroll through this a little bit and see what's going on. So it looks like they've shaved him down at this point and they've decided that this is where his hairline is going to be. Now, a lot of hair transplant clinics base this off of the rule of thirds, meaning if 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, that they're perfectly even. We'll talk about why this may or may not be a good idea, but so that's what it is. And they're starting to shave him down, which he's a great looking guy. Not that this matters, but he's a great looking guy with zero hair. Like, actually, in my opinion, doesn't need anything. But as we know, with hair loss, it's not really about what you need. It's about your identity, how you feel with your hair, without your hair, all that kind of fun stuff. And nobody can really talk to you about that. So this is after surgery. We can see that he's got, all these little dots. Looks like he's got little sprouts coming out of his hair. And he's got these little paper wings. Now, apparently he said that his surgery was painless. I don't really know about that one, but okay, bud, we're just gonna go with that. But the thing that I really wanted to touch on inside of this is actually the fact, this may look like, he got the greatest solution, like he got a free hair system. Excuse me, he got a free hair transplant. Yeah, he struck the holy grail. Well, my question is that really the holy grail? Is this actually going to be good? So, you know, we see that this is his donor area, and over here, this is where it's going to be transplanted to. Now, this is a big surface area to cover. Now, this guy is used to wearing his hair like this, and even with the best of hair transplants, chances are he is not going to get that same density with how much hair loss that he has. First off, this right here, we see this miniaturization going on. So really this whole region right here is where he's currently at. And this, what they're going to do is probably insert more hair in through this region, right? Because there's none, and they'll probably insert some through here. First off, this is going to take a massive amount of hair to, in terms of how many donors, in order to get a somewhat decent density, you know, like hairs per square centimeter. But the other problem, of course, as we know, is that hair loss doesn't stop. Right, so hopefully this guy is going on finasteride. Hopefully this guy is going on medication to stave off future hair loss. But if he doesn't, it's not going to look good. You know, we've seen examples of many people that get hair transplants. They wind up years later looking, I don't want to say worse, but having the same issue, having these very strange hair loss patterns, though, where they have hair up front perhaps, but in the middle they don't have hair because, you know, the hair transplant worked, and the hair that's currently receding is still doing that. That's ultimately not where we want to wind up. So for this guy, you know, the question is, right, like how much hair loss does he currently have? How much can his donor area carry him with this current hair loss, and what is he going to have left over if he loses any more hair? You know, he may be on medication the rest of his life, and if he's not on medication, he's going to lose a lot of this hair, probably. You know, we can't say for sure, but just following the natural course of things. So this brings me to, you know, my penultimate thought, I guess, inside of this, which is, you know, hair systems are placed kind of down here and hair transplants are up here in terms of like what people think is a better option, what's more desirable, what's going to be the decision that makes them happiest in the end, right? Well, it's not quite that simple, right? With a hair system, let's like look at the trajectory of what happens with a hair system and a hair transplant. A hair system, right? You go from 0 to 100 real quick, like shave your head, it's put on, right? People are generally really happy up front. You instantly get results. Although, you know, you can say that the hairline isn't ever going to be as good. You might not be as comfortable. But of course, after that, right, you have to learn how to maintain it. You have to deal with that. You have to learn it. And then you have to, of course, do the maintenance from then on out. Now with a hair transplant, it's interesting, right? Like immediately you don't get those results. You basically look like a porcupine on the top of your head that got stabbed a billion times. You're all bloody or a mess, but after a year or two, right, you have all of this hair that's naturally growing out of your head, and that's awesome. What happens after a year or two more, right? You're continuing, if you're not on medication, you're going to continue to probably lose a lot of your hair that is further receding. By the time that all of this hair comes in after a year and a half that you just got transplanted, you might have significantly more hair loss, or not if it's stabilized, but there's a definite chance. So that means that you're probably going to have to stay on medication in order to maintain, or hopefully maintain, a decent result. That, of course, leaves you in a situation where you have to be on medication. And side effects, maybe no side effects, but you're placed on something that you have to do from then on out, which I would say, you know, for those that are considering a transplant, try the medication first, right? Try to make sure you're not having any side effects. Try to make sure it's not affecting you in any way, that you're okay with how you feel, all this kind of stuff. Stabilize yourself on it for a year maybe. Feel how it is. This guy right here, no disrespect to him, but unless he's tried finasteride, unless he's been on this medication, if he just jumped into a hair transplant, he's jumping into a whole world of things that he may not be ready for. I guess it's not that big of a deal because, you know, ultimately he got the surgery for free and he looks like he's okay, like he hasn't, you know, had any complications with the surgery, but it's a significant thing. It's a surgery, it means taking medication, and if you don't take medication, you're probably not gonna have a great result. With a hair system, you kind of know what you're gonna get. You kind of know what you're gonna get, and that's that. So just take these factors into consideration. You know, this guy right here, he's going to get the result that he gets, you know, no matter what. I will say that this right here is not going to look the same as this. The density that he finally gets is probably going to be nowhere near this right here. This is a very thick hair system. This right here is not going to result in that, most likely. Now, if you want that hairstyle, the hair transplant's probably not going to cover you, and it probably won't cover you forever. So hair transplant may not be the right option. It might be the right option, but it might not. Let me know what you guys think of this video, like this type of content, if a hair transplant is good or not for someone in their situation. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys soon.